my name is Lauren. I am a Team Evogen Elite athlete, and I first started working with Evogen Nutrition just by reaching out via email. So I had been seeing the brand a little more frequently on Instagram, so I just figured that I would reach out in hopes to become a brand ambassador, and then lo and behold, I got an email back and I just started from there. They actually invited me to the Orlando Fit Expo, and this was when I had only been on the team for a couple of months just to go work the booth. So I started from there, and that was actually the first time that I met Hani and did some shooting with him. We did like some FST7 training and stuff like that. And that was like, I think the first time that he actually, noticed me and, saw potential in my physique and things like that. So once I got home from the expo, a few days later, Hani actually called me, and from there he expressed interest in me coming on board as an athlete. So obviously moving up in the ranks from a brand ambassador. So training with Hani for the first time was extremely intimidating. I had never really trained with a trainer before, and then coming in and training with the best trainer there is obviously was a little intimidating. I was just praying that I could keep up, and he was very intense at first. But once we kind of got rolling, obviously I learned a lot, even just my first time training with him. And then we kind of kept in touch from there. He would keep tabs on me and basically make sure that I was training hard and that my diet was on point, and pretty much just checking up on me to make sure that I was being the best that I could be from there. And that was the biggest thing to me, because I was always just thinking, Hani has all of these Olympian athletes, and so to me it was just like the fact that he took the time to really invest in me and my physique and my career pretty much is amazing, because I'm not an IFBB pro. I've never been on the Olympia stage, obviously. So just for him to see kind of that potential in me is an honor and something that I never expected to happen. And a lot of people think that Hani and I train together all the time, which if you don't know me, I live in Pennsylvania on the East Coast, whereas Hani lives in California. So whenever there's an expo or an event or a shoot, then that's when we really get together and kind of like fine-tune things, and I just act as a sponge and try to absorb as much knowledge as I can. And then I take those things home with me and I apply them to my own training, and then he checks up on me that way. So from there, it was kind of just me focusing on just growing my brand and growing with Evogen, and I just hoped that Hani obviously liked me and thought that I trained hard, and I just wanted to continue to be an asset to the team that way. So when I started as an athlete, it was great, because I was going to the expos and obviously meeting a lot more people and growing that way. And then I had started prep for my most recent show, and I competed last June. And I was actually in prep, full on in prep, and I had a different coach. And Hani was just checking up on me every now and then, well, what are you eating? How are you training? And kind of telling me to tweak things. And at that point, he was like, okay, I think I would like to take over your prep if that's okay. Like, I would really like to, guide you into your show if that's okay with you. And so I kind of jumped on board. And obviously, you don't say no. You don't say no when Hani says he wants to train you. So from then, I was really nervous, because in my head, I was like, I'm just an NPC figure competitor. Like, he has so many more important things to do. I don't know if he'll really take the time, and be super invested. But he was on my ass every day. Can I say ass? He was on my ass every day. I was sending physique updates all the time, and we were tweaking things, and he would tell me certain parts to bring up in my physique, and things that were lagging, and it just so what's the word? Just his attention to detail was so far beyond what I expected, just because I didn't think that I was really what I was doing was super important to him. But he made me a priority from day one, and he would say, send me physique updates, and I would send him a picture, and he would say, okay, now go eat this instead of this. The detail was just nothing that I had ever experienced before. So it was an honor, and obviously I won the show. I won the overall, so it was the best I ever looked by far, and that was only my third show ever. But the transition from what I looked like in 2016 versus 2017 is like a whole other person. My favorite fan experience that I can think of is, it was at FIBO and in Germany, and there was a little girl, and she was probably about 4 or 5 years old, and she was there with her parents, and I love kids, so I went right up to her, and she was at the booth, and I asked her if I could give her a high five, and she was so reluctant, like hugging her mom, and then I asked if we could take a picture together, and she like reluctantly flexed with me. And then I think her parents left the booth for a little bit, and then I saw that her mom came back, and she said, Emma wants to take a picture with you. And she ran up and hugged me, and she like wanted me to pick her up and hold her, and she was just so cute. And from then on, the rest of the expo, she was attached to me. She came back to see me probably 10 more times. We took a bunch of pictures, and she didn't even speak English. She was just a little girl, a little German girl, but she was so cute, and it just made me so happy that me being, you know, happy and excited to meet her ultimately made her comfortable with me, and the fact that she just kept coming back to see me just made me so happy, and it made like the whole expo just so much fun. She was just so cute. I loved her. I'm actually super excited because I'm coming out with a stack through Evogen of some of my favorites. So I'll quickly talk about what I'm putting in the stack. And we'll start with this little combination here, the Liposide IR and the Carnogen, which I use all the time for fasted cardio. It's my favorite combination ever. And then I also added the EVP, which is the non-stimulant pre-workout, and I will use this obviously about 20 minutes before I work out. I love the pump, and I love that I don't get the caffeine or the jitters or anything like that. I will get my caffeine from the Liposide IR, so if I do want a little bit of caffeine, sometimes I'll even mix these two together. My advice for anyone that wants to join the team is to put yourself out there, get yourself familiar with the products. If you already use the products, that's awesome. Post about it, be passionate about it. You don't have to have hundreds of thousands of followers. Reach out. You can actually reach out to Evogen by visiting evogenelite.com and joining the team that way. I started from being a brand ambassador to now Evogen royalty, the top tier of the Evogen athletes, and I had no followers. I did have a few followers, but Hani and I will argue about how many followers I actually had, but it wasn't a lot, so you don't need to have a ton of followers. Just keep working on yourself and be the most authentic version of yourself, and that will shine through.